I've talked about this before on my channel, but I rewatched clips of Zootopia. I was really in the mood for watching it tonight. First of all, it's a literal bunny cop movie. Haha. One more pun. Huge missed opportunity that they didn't name Nick Barley, because then he could have had barley and hops. Haha. Okay, they reference Breaking Bad. They could definitely have gotten away with that pun. So, it's a good mystery. Yeah, there's a twist villain, and you can pretty much see it coming, but it doesn't take the focus away from the main characters and what they're going through. I still legitimately enjoy myself watching it, and I'm enjoying the character's journey. I feel like this is one of those movies I'm more in it for the journey than the twists and turns. Obviously people have talked about how they handle prejudice, which is done very, very well, and they definitely don't make it clear who's supposed to be what group. I like that. I like that a lot. There's definitely attitudes and comments that are passing by that you could very easily apply to different kinds of prejudice, but it never comes out and says, oh, the sheep are this group, oh, the predators are this group, the prey is this group. So you can very much apply it to a lot of different kinds of prejudice, since there is a lot of similarity and bias. Obviously, people a lot smarter than me have analyzed that aspect of the movie. The part I really wanted to rewatch tonight was the scene at the end, towards the end of the second act, where Gideon apologizes to Judy. She's back at her family farm, and she finds out that he's become a successful pastry chef and a much better person. A lot of people say that the words he uses when he says, oh, I had a lot of self-doubt, it manifested into aggression, unchecked rage and aggression. So many people in the comments section are saying, this is clearly someone who's been to therapy and has worked on himself. I thought, that's awesome. I really like seeing that. Granted, I'm someone who likes revenge stories a lot, but I also like seeing this, hey, some people who hurt you really can become better people. I think a lot of the pettier stuff in childhood can go that way. I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm saying it's cool to see that option too. Unfortunately, not everyone does that. Unfortunately, not everyone apologizes for the wrong they've done. So it's great to see. And it's such a sweet, nice moment too. I like that part of it. That's probably my favorite part of the movie, because sometimes this stuff really does stick with you, and a lot of people don't own up to their actions. So it's great to see that someone who did. Yay. There's some hope in the world, even if it isn't fiction. I also legitimately the animation's great. I'm not really into the anthropomorphic animals thing. I'm not really sure what the whole furry thing's about, but different strokes for different folks. But the animation is so convincing. I never once felt like it was too weird or too uncanny. I felt like the art really looked animal-like, but they did a good job blending the human and animal characteristics, because I feel like it could go so wrong so fast, and they pulled it off. Good for Disney. Again, well, Disney's some of the best art in the world, so makes perfect sense. And still laughing at myself for the bunny cop movie pun. I don't have too much to say. That's really the part I wanted to focus on, but I like the humor. I think the movie ties together very, very nicely. I like how all these little details come back into play. I like how it's ultimately Gideon who inspires Judy to crack the case. So inspiration really can come from anywhere. Isn't that cool? It's fun seeing people interact with this movie. The good, the bad, the weird. It's very amusing. And meowsing. No, I don't think there were cats in this movie. I like this world. Again, they made this really, really cool world. I'm kind of just rambling at this point. But I think the world they created is really cool. It allows you to explore all these different areas. It feels like a real city where there's different subcultures living together and people, animals, are not always accommodated. But the city has to work to keep up with that. I think it's a very relevant movie, but it's also a very timeless movie because some of these issues are always going to be there. I think this movie you can project a lot onto. It's definitely vague enough. Wouldn't even say vague. A lot of the it's a very specific movie in terms of how the world is created, but the way it applies to real life is just open enough that you can project a lot onto it. So I think it's going to be around for years to come. Well, obviously it is. It's Disney, and Disney I'm pretty sure is immortal at this point.